Here are my grades for the biggest free agent signings in the NFL 1 year ago in 2024. Saquon Barkley signed a 3-year, $37 million contract in 2024 with the Philadelphia Eagles. This is getting an A+. Coming from the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley had the best year of his career and was pivotal in the Philadelphia Eagles' second Super Bowl win. Winning Offensive Player of the Year in 2024, Saquon Barkley became just the 9th player in NFL history to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. Over 2,000 yards rushing and 15 total touchdowns, he could have also won MVP. And to top things off for Saquon Barkley, he already got another contract extension too. So he'll be in Philadelphia for a very long time. Next up is Derrick Henry, who signed a 2-year, $16 million contract with the Baltimore Ravens. This also gets an A+ grade. This was a home run signing for the Baltimore Ravens. Now in his 30s, Derrick Henry showed no signs of slowing down, rushing for over 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 6 yards a carry. The duo of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry was simply amazing to no one's surprise. Derrick Henry at this point is already a Hall of Fame running back, so I expect another great year from him in 2025. Another running back, Josh Jacobs, who signed a 4-year, $48 million contract with the Green Bay Packers, is also getting an A+ grade. Coming over from the Las Vegas Raiders, the Packers got their new workhorse running back. Jacobs added another dimension to the offense with second-year starting quarterback Jordan Love. Rushing for over 1,300 yards and having 15 total touchdowns got Jacobs his 3rd Pro Bowl selection, and now at 27 years old, let's see how long he can keep this high level of play up. Sam Darnold signed a 1-year, $10 million contract with the Minnesota Vikings 1 year ago, and this is getting an A+ grade. Sam Darnold was way better than what anyone would have expected. Throwing for over 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, and leading the Vikings to the playoffs in a year where many people expected them to be rebuilding, Sam Darnold rejuvenated his career. And this, of course, led the Seattle Seahawks to giving him a $100 million contract as well. Let's see how things turn out for Darnold in Seattle. If you like what you're seeing so far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more. Another quarterback, Kirk Cousins, signed a 4-year, $180 million contract 1 year ago with the Atlanta Falcons, and this is getting an F grade. Coming off of a season-ending Achilles injury in his last year with the Minnesota Vikings, everything actually started off very well for Kirk Cousins in the Atlanta Falcons, but then it quickly collapsed. And it was evident that Kirk Cousins was still hurt and not fully healed. And it showed in his play while he threw for 3,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, and also had 13 fumbles. This was just a terrible signing, and the Falcons gave him way too much money, as of course, Kirk Cousins would later be benched later on in the year for rookie quarterback Michael Penix. And now the Falcons are, of course, trying to get rid of Kirk Cousins. And I'll be honest, as a Falcons fan, I don't care where he plays. He can play Canada, he can play Japan, as long as he gets off my football team. And to round out the quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield re-signed for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 3-year, $100 million contract, and I'm giving this an A grade. Mayfield followed up a solid 2023 season with another great 2024 season as well. Throwing for over 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns, Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. Baker would of course get his 2nd straight Pro Bowl selection while also leading the Bucs to their 4th straight division title. Now after going from the Browns to the Carolina Panthers to the Los Angeles Rams, Baker Mayfield has finally found a home in Tampa Bay. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley signed a 4-year, $92 million contract for the Tennessee Titans. This is getting a B grade. Ridley had 64 catches, over 1,000 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 2024 with a tough quarterback situation and an overall lackluster offense. Calvin Ridley is definitely a solid receiving option, but I don't think he should be your top receiving option, nor should he be paid like it either. He's a solid wide receiver too. The Titans have a lot of work to do on offense, so while Ridley is a solid receiving option, let's see how everything looks in 2025. Receiver Michael Pittman Jr. re-signed with the Indianapolis Colts on a 3-year, $70 million contract, and I'm giving this a B grade. Pittman proved once again that he can be a solid receiving option while dealing with shaky quarterback play, having 69 catches, 808 yards, and 3 touchdowns, which unfortunately was a step down from his 1,100-yard season in 2023. Now, he did deal with injuries throughout the course of the 2024 season, but I think he'll be able to rebound in 2025. Robert Hunt signed a 5-year, $100 million contract with the Carolina Panthers, and I'm giving this an A grade. Robert Hunt had the best year of his career, making his first Pro Bowl at 28 years old, while also being great in the run game for Chuba Hubbard, who also had his best year of his career, while also giving confidence to Bryce Young as a young quarterback in the pocket. A great protection all around up front for the Panthers offense. Hunt was a huge upgrade to the Panthers offensive line. Mike Onwenu signed a 3-year, $57 million contract to come back to the New England Patriots, and I'm giving this a B grade. This was more of a disappointing year for Onwenu, where he had to play both right guard and right tackle, where he struggled a bit at right tackle, but found consistency once again when he moved back to right guard, providing consistent protection for rookie Drake May. The offensive line in New England all around dealt with a ton of injuries, so that also played a role in Onwenu's slump too. Christian Wilkins signed a 4-year, $110 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm giving this a C+ grade. Wilkins unfortunately missed most of the season due to a foot injury, only playing 5 games, but in those 5 games, he was still very solid, having 17 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 9 total pressures. Wilkins showed that he can be a solid piece up front for the Raiders. He just needs to stay healthy. Chris Jones re-signed with the Kansas City Chiefs on a 5-year, $158 million contract, and this is getting an A+ grade. Jones showed no signs of slowing down at 30 years old. He was an anchor in the middle of the Chiefs' defense, helping them get to the Super Bowl once again, as Jones had 37 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 74 total pressures. He would of course get his 6th Pro Bowl and 6th All-Pro selection, being a force in the middle, drawing double teams, creating havoc, causing chaos. Overall, this was a great move to keep Chris Jones in KC. Nnamdi Madubuike signed a 4-year, $98 million contract to come back to the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm giving this an A grade. Despite having a slight down year compared to 2023, where he'd be dealing with much more double teams, he would still make his 2nd Pro Bowl selection, having 43 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks. The loss of Mike Macdonald also played a role in the Ravens defense taking a step back, but still, Madubuike played at a high level in 2024. Jonathan Grenard signed a 4-year, $76 million contract with the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm giving this an A grade. Coming over from the Houston Texans, Grenard had another double-digit sack season and also got his 1st Pro Bowl selection. Grenard had 59 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, and 80 total pressures. The Vikings have a very strong set of pass rushers going forward with Grenard, Van Ginkel, and a young Dallas Turner. Cornerback Jalen Johnson signed a 4-year, $76 million contract to come back to the Chicago Bears, and I'm giving this an A grade. Johnson, a great young corner, continues to flourish with the Bears in Chicago. One of the few bright spots on a 5-12 Bears team, Jalen Johnson will make his 2nd Pro Bowl with 2 interceptions and 8 passes defended. A great young corner who deserves more respect and recognition, Jalen Johnson was a great re-signing for the Chicago Bears. Safety Xavier McKinney signed a 4-year, $68 million contract with the Green Bay Packers, and I'm also giving this an A grade. A playmaker all around in the pass and the run, McKinney had the best season of his career, with 88 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 8 interceptions, and 11 passes defended. His great ball skills were truly put on display in the Packers defense. And that, of course, is why he got his 1st All-Pro and Pro Bowl selection. Brian Burns was franchise tagged by the Carolina Panthers and immediately traded to the New York Giants, where he would then sign a 5-year, $141 million contract extension. I'm giving this a B+ grade. Burns was a solid addition to the New York Giants defense, but you could argue that he might be slightly overpaid. He would have 71 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, and 61 total pressures. He's by no means a bad player at all. This is a very solid edge rusher that you want on your defense. But with the contract that the Giants are giving him, he's being paid like an elite level edge rusher, when in reality he's only playing at a good level edge rusher. Let's see how 2025 looks for Brian Burns and the Giants. Josh Hines-Allen was franchise tagged by the Jacksonville Jaguars and then extended, given a 5-year, $141 million contract. I'm also giving this a B+ grade. Allen has been a solid piece on the Jags defense for years, being a 2-time Pro Bowler, and will eventually be the Jaguars' all-time leading sack leader as well. But 2024 was a step back in production in comparison to his 17.5 sack season in 2023. He was still solid with 45 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 8.5 sacks, along with 63 total pressures, while dealing with injuries. So Allen is still a very solid player, but with a contract like that he's been given, you would want more. Let's see how the Jaguars defense looks in 2025. And finally, Leonard Williams was given a 3-year, $64.5 million contract to come back to the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm giving this an A grade. Leonard Williams was one of the best interior linemen in the game and had arguably the best season of his career in 2024. Making his 2nd Pro Bowl, Williams led the Seahawks in sacks while having 64 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, and 11 sacks. He excelled in the pass and the run, and honestly should have been an All-Pro selection as well. And with the Seahawks as a team taking a step forward with first-time head coach Mike Macdonald in 2024, this was overall a very good signing. Like and comment whether or not you agree with my grades for the 2024 biggest free agent signings, and subscribe for more NFL content like this.